we're celebrating 30 years of professional law enforcement today. Meet Horry County Sheriff Phillip Thompson. Coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the Horry County Government and Justice Center in historic downtown Conway. We're focused on 30 years of public service. And we're visiting with Horry County Sheriff Phillip Thompson, who today, Phillip, is celebrating 30 years of professional law enforcement. Congratulations today.
Thank you very much. It really certainly doesn't seem like it's been 30 years, but it has.
Can you even fathom that? Think back to 30 years ago, you were joining the Myrtle Beach Police Department.
That's correct. My first day was March 21st of 1978. And gosh, it doesn't seem like it's been 30 years. But it has, and really good years.
I mean, to think about that, your boys have all grown up over the 30 years. They've gotten married. You have grandchildren, 4 grandchildren now?
That's correct.
I mean, think of that. You and Cherry have been married 30-some years. I mean,
38 years.
38 years.
Yes, that's correct.
Think about all the different cases you worked on, all the different things you've done.
Makes me feel older than I feel.
I know. I'm sorry. That's right. Well, you have kept your youth very well, but can you reflect back to just those first couple of years as you were getting your feet wet? What was it about March 20 or leading up to March 21st of 1978 that encouraged you to join the Myrtle Beach Police Department?
Well, I had been interested in law enforcement for quite some time. Went back to school at Horry Georgetown Tech and majored in criminal justice during that period of time. And I was around a lot of police officers at that time that were already officers.
Right.
I wanted to be. And going through the school and taking that and those courses just made me more really want to get involved. And I had the opportunity to go to work with Myrtle Beach in 1978, and I did. And the rest is history. We just had a really wonderful career.
Right. There 3 years, then 21 years.
Well, I was actually at Myrtle Beach for 2 years.
Okay, 2 years.
And then I worked with Horry County Police Department for 21 years.
Right.
And I've been sheriff for about a little over 7 years.
That is amazing.
It's been fun. What a great time I've had.
And of course, to be here in this facility now and to oversee all the security here for this 212,000 square foot Government and Justice Center, what folks oftentimes call the Justice and Administration Center, or goes by a lot of names, but it is the centerpiece of Horry County.
Really is, and it is really a remarkable facility.
Yeah.
When they started the planning and all for this, they wanted to do it where we would have like a one-stop shop or a facility where you could go to take care of any function within county government.
Right.
And of course, they did a wonderful job of planning.
Oh, yeah.
It's beautiful. I think it's very functional.
Yes.
And also, a lot goes on here in the period of the day, as you can tell.
Oh,
with
yeah,
the folks
of course.
coming in and out.
Absolutely. All week. Of course, today's Friday, but to think all week, we've had folks in, obviously kicking off the week here with Roddy Dickinson and then Robert Edge, our coroner, on Tuesday. Judge Didra Edmonds with us on Wednesday, and Greg Hembry yesterday. It's been a great week, but to wrap it up on 30 years of public service, does it give you any goosebumps? Can we tell? Yeah, I see a couple of goosebumps there.
I'm proud to say that I still get excited when I come to work. I mean, I really do. I'm not just saying that. There's a lot going on in Horry County, as you well know. Seen a lot of change in 30 years and how much we've grown. How law enforcement has changed, the technology surrounding law enforcement, what we do now versus what we did back in the late 70s and through the 80s and the 90s. But the basic of law enforcement hasn't changed. We're still here as law enforcement officers to serve and protect the public. We're here to help and assist. That's what law enforcement really is about, and to make it safe for our citizens. But the method, the tools that we have now compared to the 70s and early 80s has certainly changed a lot.
Right.
But the basics of law enforcement hasn't changed.
Yes.
But I still get excited when I come to work and all, especially working in a facility like this.
And this is your home. I mean, this is your work home. Clearly, this is the building. You spend some time as well throughout the county.
Oh, I do. But this is where our office is.
Right,
The sheriff's office is located here in the Justice Center behind me. A lot of security there. Right. Unfortunately, as we've seen things change, the aspect of security is now more important than it's ever been. It's always been important, but it's more so now than it has ever been. And when you come into the facility, if you're going into the Justice Center, it's much like going to board an airplane.
Boarding an airplane, yes.
That's correct. The system is set up basically the same in the fact that when you go in, you go through metal detectors. We have staff there that check you, make sure that you have no weapons on you. Purses, any mail that's delivered, any packages that come in, go through an X-ray machine.
Is that right? Wow.
We have
anyone on that side of the building or throughout the entire facility?
In the Justice Center
the Justice portion, yes.
But we have a security room.
Right.
It's called Central Control, where we have staff there that monitor the activity throughout the facility via cameras. And all, we have 110 security cameras throughout this complex.
Is that right? Wow, Sheriff.
It's monitored 24/7. We have duress alarms through any department in the administrative wing or building or the Justice Center that accepts money or any transactions that's taken. We have security cameras there with duress alarms.
Right.
If something goes wrong, a duress alarm could be mashed at that station.
Okay.
It locks a camera in our central control room, which an alarm goes off.
Right.
And the security personnel are able to view what is happening, radio to our people that we have stationed throughout the facility for them to respond. The judges have duress alarms behind their benches.
Great.
In their chambers.
Right.
We have separate entrances for our judge and court staff. So a lot of security, lots done here.
Of course, it's unfortunate at some level to think of having to move to that level of security throughout, but clearly you have got to be there and got to be ready for anything that can come up. Think about over the course of your tenure as sheriff, now north of 7 years, some of the things that have occurred, probably stuff folks would never even hear about, don't want to know about, but they want to know that you're covered bases.
Yeah, and if you think about what goes on in this building, in the period of a week's time, the different hearings, the courts that you have, the different type of courts. We've had, if you've in the news, and I know you are.
Oh yeah.
We've had a large number of major trials.
That's right. I know. Just last week, Court TV was here.
That's correct.
And to think about being in the facility during a murder trial, and I'm sure out here you see the local TV stations here all the time, newspaper press are here all the time. It's a big
well, if
deal.
you think about the emotion that's going on in that courtroom, because you got the victim's family.
Right.
You have the defendant in that courtroom. You have the defendant's family. You have the emotions. You have your jurors that are up there. And serving as a juror can be a very emotional task to perform. And we have a wonderful group of citizens here that we draw our jury pools from, and they take their job very seriously. There's a lot of emotion going on in that one courtroom.
Oh, yeah.
And then when the court is over and they step out into the hallways, you have potential to have some issues. Then you got your family court, divorces, dividing of children, parental rights, who has custody. There's a lot of emotion that goes on in this building in the period of a day. I've got a wonderful staff of people who seem to be, or they don't seem, they are very, very good at dealing with those issues, how to handle them. They can kind of sense when there might be an issue coming up, and they position themselves. Very, very proud of our employees that work here.
How many folks work within the sheriff's office? You've got folks principally here, I guess the detention center, J. Reuben Long.
We have 51 people assigned here in this office downtown, and we have about 220 at the detention center.
Is that right? There's that large a number of persons out there. Wow, Sheriff, that's a big deal, and that's only getting bigger and bigger.
Oh, it's growing. It's growing. We're in the middle of an expansion phase at this time.
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting bigger out there as well. Unfortunately, we have to.
Yes.
Because they just keep filling up. Folks keep coming to see us at the jail. So
folks keep coming to.
They just keep violations or whatever they do. We just
right.
keep seeing. We had the largest number of intake this past year that we ever had. We booked 14,000 people into J. Reuben Long Detention Center.
14,000
yes,
in 2007?
Yes, sir.
That is terrible.
It is.
That is terrible when you think about those kind of numbers. But clearly the sheriff's office is instrumental in making that as seamless as possible because you're obviously having to, wow.
Well, like I said about our staff here, our staff there,
yeah.
they do a marvelous job working under the conditions and the pressures and all that they have to do. And I just can't say enough about the folks that work for us here at the sheriff's office.
When you think
very
about
dedicated employees.
When you think about pressure, and I know in here folks have to be on their toes constantly, making sure everything runs seamlessly. The 50+ folks you have here, but over there where pressure is clearly at a high, and I'm sure the mental and verbal angling going on between folks. I hate to say prisoners. And the folks that are not prisoners, it's that's a big deal.
It really is, but they do a marvelous job.
What is a typical day, if you can think back to for yourself, a typical day, Sheriff, in a facility like this, and clearly having to interface a lot with staff, you just have really interfacing, making sure everyone's happy in their position. What is a typical day like for you?
Well, I usually get to the office around 8:15 in the mornings. You have calls that come in throughout the evening that you need to return. But basically what I do here at the Justice Center is I go around and I check our courtrooms.
Right.
When I say check courtrooms, I check the courts. I visit with the judges a lot.
Yes,
to see their concerns and what's going on. We have a lot of walk-in folks coming by to have questions or issues that we need to discuss. And then they want to talk with the sheriff. I'm here for that, and do an awful lot of that. Might run out to the detention center, check on some issues out there. Right now we're in an expansion project, so I'm spending
physically building expansion.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
We're under construction at this point with phase one. We're phasing it in. We're going two different phases.
Right.
And we're in the middle of phase one at this time. So you got meetings out there. You got staff meetings with your staff. We have a project manager that works for us on staff.
Wow.
Who is constantly, that is his job. He is involved in the construction and what needs to be done, dealing with the architects, dealing with the contractors, dealing with everyone out there. So I meet with him quite a bit, either by phone or in person out there.
Sure.
You get called out to different things. So you never know when you come in the mornings what you're going to do.
You really don't know. There's no typical day.
No. And I like that.
Yeah, sure.
I like that aspect of.
Some folks couldn't live with that. They couldn't thrive on having an atypical day every day just because they want, like children, you want routine. You need routine, but if you can do it, more power to you. That's tremendous.
Basically the only thing routine here is what time you get here.
Right.
So you never know when you walk in. They might have meetings, obviously.
Right, sure.
You're meeting with county staff. You're meeting at different points with different agencies.
Sure.
We have meetings with the chiefs, all the chiefs and the sheriff and all. We meet second Wednesday every month, so we got those meetings where we share information with each other, what's going on, to keep abreast of things. And I want to say too that the cooperation and the working relationship with all the law enforcement agencies in this county is the best I have seen it, and I've been in the business for 30 years.
Oh yeah.
Now, it's never been bad, but it's the best now that I have seen.